Hey everybody, Eric with the Dramatic here with another how-to video. This time, how to sync your audio with your video, or how I sync my audio with video. There might be several other ways out there, I'm sure there are. I'm going to show you two. One is a manual way that I've used for years and years and years, mostly because I felt like I needed that control. And then I recently discovered a much simpler way to sync the audio, which also helps helps you with your edit as it syncs the cameras together. So I'm going to show you both ways, and then you can play with them and figure out which way works best for you. So wanted to thank you for tuning in. Take a moment to subscribe, share the channel with your friends, and glad you tuned in with us today. I know you've been watching the drum covers. Thank you so much for that. Gosh, we have so much fun doing those. And then we also kind of want to give back a little bit in terms of helping you with whatever you're doing. So the first thing that I want to share with you is, if you're like me and you're recording your audio in GarageBand, you need to know that when you export that audio file to sync with your cameras, it exports at 44,100 hertz. Or 44.1 kilohertz. The cameras that I'm shooting with some GoPros and some Canon T5Is. Those all record at 48,000 hertz or 48 kilohertz. My research tells me that when you try to sync 44.1 with 48, just eventually over time in your sequencing, it'll get out of sync, which will just stress you out. So what I do is, after I export this 44.1 file from GarageBand, I run it through Adobe Audition or whatever. I think somebody said they use Audacity, whatever you use, and then I export it as a 48,000 hertz or 48 kilohertz file. Then it syncs up really nice with everything, and then of course I don't use my camera audio, but I'll show you all that. So let's jump into it. I've got some half and half light Arnold Palmer iced tea and some beef jerky. Let's jump into this thing. Alright, so we've got our Premiere Pro sequence set up here. I'm going to show you the manual way, and actually the more lengthy way to do this. I'm going to show you real quick. So we're going to close this multi-cam folder. Basically, I have this set up for the next thing. Got the same clips in there as I have here in my main bin. So I'm going to just start with clip 1. I'm going to clearing it out. In this clip, I know that I started and stopped and started again, so we're going to go with the second start here. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen for the first stick click. That is going to be our peak in our audio, the noticeable thing that we know we can sync up with our recorded audio file and with our camera audio, so everything matches up. So here we go. We're listen for that first stick click. I'm going to scrub a little bit ahead here. Okay. And there we go. Oh, back up. Okay, great. So as soon as we hear that stick click, there it is. I'm going to add marker. Put this little sound marker in here. We're going to go a little bit in front of this. And we're going to hit an end point because we don't need all the stuff in the beginning. Let's drag that into our timeline. We're going to do the same thing with the second camera. Just clearing these in and out points that I had in there from before. Okay, put it in there too. All right. First stick click, here it comes. There it is. Add marker. Drag that clip on top of this one. Line up those markers. We do the same thing for the third camera. Clear in and out. Okay. Okay, mark an endpoint. Listen for the first stick click. Here it comes. There it is. Add marker. Right on top of it here. Link those up. Now we should all be synced together. No echoes. Oh no, not true. So we're going to zoom in on these, and we can see clearly that the top camera is off. So when you're zoomed way out, it's easy to, it looks like it's onto your eye, but it's actually off. So now if we listen to this, There we go. So now we know that those are synced up. Now we're going to sync our audio with it. So we click on our audio file. Oop, too far. Clear markers. Okay, so there's our first stick click. Hope you can hear that. There it is. Add marker. And we're going to do the same thing down here. So we should have it. Holy crap, that's really loud. And then if we mute all these bad boys, turn that up now. Looks like my leg's in sync. Let's get a little here. Let's get a little further on in the clip where I'm playing. And then just drop the opacity on the first camera. Make sure each camera syncs up. Awesome. Okay, then we would just go through adjusting the opacity to see which camera we want to use, cutting where we need to and getting rid of what we don't need. The other thing that I do with my camera audio is I select them all, I right click, select unlink, and then I will get rid of all of my camera audio once I know that it syncs up. I don't know if I do it just because I think it gives the machine less to process. So if you're not using something, don't keep it in the timeline. It's absolutely redundant. So keep it for reference, but when you know you're done with it, get rid of it. Then always save your project every few steps. Save early, save often. Always, always, always. Now, moving on to what I think is my recently discovered, though it's been around forever, easy way to do things. Hopefully this will help you out, speed the process along. We're going to start doing a very similar thing. I'm going to clear markers, and I'm going to clear in and outs, because what we're going to do is we're going to do very similar to what we did with the last one, except instead of adding a marker, we're going to just create an endpoint. And I'm making endpoints with the I and the O on the keyboard. You can also use these little buttons here. I'm just a big keyboard shortcut nut, so if I know the keyboard shortcut, I always use it. So we're going to go to the same place. We're going to listen for that first stick click. Oop, there it is. Back it up. There it is. I'm going to make an endpoint. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on each camera. Clear all markers. Clear in and out. Okay. So looking for that first stick click. Here it comes. There it is. Mark that as my endpoint. Do that on the third camera as well. Clearing it out. Okay. We're going to listen for that first stick click. Here it comes. There it is. Mark that as an endpoint. Now we've got all those marked. We're going to right click on this multicam folder that we had set up, and we're going to create multi-camera source sequence. So we click that, and then it gives you some options here. We're going to use endpoints. That's what we just set up, and that is going to be the thing by which it syncs all the cameras up. We're going to use camera 1 audio because we're eventually going to get rid of it anyway. So this can all stay the same. That's your most important thing right here. Hit OK. Now in that multicam folder, if you unclick it, it's got something called process clips, and it's got this little sequence here, which is the same frame rate as your cameras. So if we right click on that, and then we go up to new sequence from clip, it is going to create a new sequence. Now you'll notice as it's created a new sequence that it's only one line of video as opposed to 3 from the cameras. It's combined them all into one. So over here on the right hand side, underneath your monitor screen, you should have a toggle multi-camera view button. If you do not, you can click your little add button, and then it'll pop up buttons and you can click it and drag it down into that timeline. So we're going to click this toggle multi-camera view button, and you'll see that it gives us what current camera is selected and then all three of your cameras all synced up. Camera 1, camera 2, and camera 3. As we play through this, we can edit in real time using the mouse like we just did, or I can use 1, 2, and 3 for the corresponding cameras. 1, 2, 3 to make those cuts. So before we do that, we're going to grab our audio over here and we're going to do the same thing we did before. So we're going to find that endpoint with that first thing, and we are going to make that, we're going to make this our endpoint. So let's listen. There's that first stick click. So we're going to make that our endpoint. Now we can take that, and because we've made the same endpoints, we'll drag that flush with the left-hand side of the sequence here, and it'll add up. Now I'm going to mute the audio for the camera because I really want to focus on making sure that the cameras are synced up with this. So let's start with camera 1, shall we? And we'll just kind of go through this. We're going to hit play, and I'm going to edit part of this in real time, okay? Staying on camera 1 here. We're going to go to camera 2, camera 3, back to 1. Camera 2, camera 3, and let's go back to 2. Then when you stop, you'll notice that all the cuts that you made are present there. Now I can add any kind of effects or things that I need to each of those clips, and it'll just affect the selected camera. I can add an adjustment layer and do all my effects then. If I am running through here and I say, okay, I don't want this to be my first camera, I just select that clip and I select the camera that I want it to be, and it changes it for me. So very cool. So that's the easy way to do it. Awesome. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit. I've never done a video like this before, so hopefully you can kind of see or punch in on some of the stuff that we're doing on the screen here. But I hope you find this helpful. If you do, if you like what we're doing here at the Drummatic, be sure to check out our Patreon page in the description below, and show us some love. Help us continue to make these informative and fun, entertaining videos. We certainly have a good time doing it. We appreciate all the love and the support that you guys have shown us. So thank you so much for checking out the Drummatic. Again, be sure to describe. You don't have to describe anything. Subscribe to the channel by clicking the button. Turn on the bell to be notified, and we'll see you next time.